The first thing we need to focus on if we're going to build any of the Rocknus S.E.R.E band products is, of course, the card. So we're going to gather all the items needed to build the Stealth S.E.R.E band now. 15 feet of TITAN SurvivorCord Paracord. The Stealth S.E.R.E band always comes with the covered, oil-filled Luminous Compass. And this compass is complete with a SOLAS surface. That's S-O-L-A-S, SOLAS surface. Alright, this is a reflective surface, works in day and night, unlike a standard reflector that generally works at night. The Stealth also comes with the V92 Day Bright surface, which is another reflective surface. This is a good nighttime surface, a 1-inch piece like so. Here we have a P38 can opener, otherwise known as the John Wayne. Next we have this buckle. Now this buckle is pretty special. It has a lot of things built into it. For example, this is a 100 dB P-less whistle right here. Okay, flip it over and here you have a signal mirror. Now you might say that looks a little foggy, and that is because this has a protective sheet of plastic over it. You can peel that off at the end. Take this apart and inside we have a ferrous rod. That's a fire starter right there. And on the other side we have a ceramic striker. Very simply done. Now that ceramic striker can pull out of there, and it is a ceramic blade. Very, very sharp, never needs sharpening. Okay, be very careful with that. This thing cuts what it touches. This can cut through plastic tie wraps. This can cut through rope as thick as you want to get it. Much time as you got to cut through it. Okay, never dulls, never needs sharpening. They can break though, it's ceramic, so you don't want to try to bend anything with it. Okay, this is for cutting, but be very careful with this. Okay, that goes right back in there, and this goes together. Here we have a modified shim pin. No good S.E.R.E kit can do without a non-metallic handcuff key. Now this little guy can clip onto a belt loop, inside a seam. The Rocknus Stealth S.E.R.E band also comes with 5 Ranger bands, which are basically some big rubber bands, okay? 5 of those, you're going to collect up, put it with the kit. Kevlar cord. There are all kinds of uses for this Kevlar cord, cutting being one of them. 36 inches. 24 inches of non-magnetic copper wire, which we are going to pull from the spare paracord at the end of our project. An additional 24 inches of the wax jute tinder. Again, this will be pulled from the spare material left over from our little bundle of paracord. 50-pound test glow-in-the-dark spider wire. This is a braided fishing line, 20 feet. A triple antibiotic ointment and some wound seal. The Rocknus Stealth S.E.R.E band comes with 2 hooks and 2 tin, not lead, tin sinkers. Each S.E.R.E band also comes with 2 aqua tabs, which are water purification tab. 1 sewing needle and 1 security pin, or safety pin as they're called. Metallic tape, a 2-inch square. Gorilla tape, a 2x2 square. 1 waterproof bandage. 2 nitrile gloves. These will be seen through the strands of paracord once this bracelet is done. 1 card. which has all of the contents listed on the back side. The 16-ounce screw top seamless tin. These are great for food storage, water collection, even cooking of food. But we're going to use this to store our kit or finished product. Wood wool. In this case we have some aspen shavings. They smell very nice. Of course, not only is wood wool great packing material, but it's great tinder. Little tinder bundle. That's all we need. And there you have it. These are all of the pieces of the Rocknus STEALTH S.E.R.E band. Now we're going to get building. Step one is always going to be wash your hands, okay? Make sure they are very, very clean. What we want to do is get both of our ends together. Put them even together, because what I want to find is the center of my paracord. And I'm going to do that by simply making sure this stays nice and together, and then go ahead and pull it. Alright, so just pull it, keep it even until we get to the other side. Look at this, how easy. So easy we can just do it on camera. Alright, when we get to the other end, look. There it is, that would be my center. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and take that center and make a little loop. And there it is, that is the middle, alright, of my 15 feet. Didn't even have to break out a tape measure. Grab that little buckle that has the fire striker in it, and with the whistle side down facing toward you, this is the front, that's the back, okay? With this facing toward you, simply take that loop, poke it to the front side, grab the loop, and put it right over the top of the whole thing, like so. And then just pull that through and make a nice tight knot right here. There you go. Step one, you've already attached a piece. To properly measure a S.E.R.E band for the wrists that will wear it, simply grab one of the other ends, lay it down, place your wrist over it, and find a nice comfortable feeling and make a loop. Something like so. Alright, take a peek at that. Now see how I got a little bit of space in there? About a finger could fit in there. You don't want to make this tight around your wrist. Okay, think about wearing it, any wrist swelling, any weight gain or loss, okay, just make it comfortable. If you make it too tight, like this, you're not going to enjoy it, okay? So lay it down. You're going to find a nice comfortable spot. Okay, so if you have a nice comfortable bit of space there, go ahead. Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, you're going to go ahead and release the loose end. Okay, and then you're going to have basically one strand measured right here. Just bring it down to your tape measure or your ruler, and without stretching it at all, lay it out. And as you can see here, if I move my finger out of the way, mine will be exactly 8 inches. Okay? This one will be an 8-inch bracelet. So remember that, write it down. Okay, back to this end. Simply take this end apart, and now we're going to work on the other end. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way down to the other end. Get your two ends side by side. Here they are. Okay, get them nice and equal. So take your other end, and this time we're going to put one end through the back, and we're going to put one end in through the front. Simple as that, okay? Pull it through, pull it through. All right, and we're just going to pull those through until we get close to the other end, nice and even, until you end up with this. Okay, and keep everything nice and even and straight. Don't let things twist and turn. Everything's nice and straight. And make sure you go in and out of these ends the way that I showed you because of the way the knots form, okay? You want this knot formed in the front that dents in. If you have the knot in the back, you're going to have a hump here in the end. So just believe me on the way these go together. Always do them this way. All right, when you pull this tight, that's going to be a lot nicer than having this hump on this side. See what I'm saying? So every little bit of what I'm telling you, including going opposite ways on this, matters when we make these knots. So, as you can see, we now almost have what looks like the bracelet beginning, okay? There's a bracelet, but it's not measured yet. Okay, but as you can see, if we clip that together, there is the start of your bracelet. See how easy this stuff is? It's so easy. Okay, so pop it apart and let's measure it and get it right. And once we get this, we gotta lock it in. So if we know we have an 8-inch wrist that we're gonna build this SERE band for, here's how we're gonna measure it. We're gonna measure from the flat part of one side of the buckle to the flat part of the other side of the buckle. See where they connect? That is why we measure exactly right there, those edges. So let's bring it down. There we go. I have this at 8 inches if you measure from exactly where I showed you to measure, but we're going to go bigger, and this is important, okay? For the Stealth SERE band, you are going to add 1 1/2 inches. And let me tell you why. Because this 8 inches that you measured your wrist for nice and comfortably, okay, this circle in here where your wrist fits is going to have some bulk added to it, and so it's going to thicken up on the inside and the outside. And when you add up the space that that bulk is going to take, it's going to take 1 1/2 inches on this bracelet of space. So to end up with an 8-inch SERE band, in this case, you need to add that extra length. Okay. And there we have 9 1/2 inches. Okay, we added 1 1/2 inches to make the Rocknus Stealth SERE band. Okay, now do not let this buckle on this side, don't let that move at all now that we have an exact measurement. Okay, keep that paracord pinned tight. And you're going to pick it up and don't let it slip at all. Okay, this side, we have a nice perfect measurement for this. And now we're going to tie the first knot and lock this in to this length. When you buy any Rocknus SERE band that's already pre-built for you, those are made by our Rocknus builders, and they will use a jig. Okay, now you can get yourself one of these. You can actually give us a buzz. We can order you one if you can't find one near you. Short of that, I'm still going to use this to show you how these are built because it makes it easier to see on the camera. Okay, now you're going to do this all by hand, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need a jig at all, but for ease of viewing, we're going to go ahead and hook up this jig. For the Stealth SERE band, of course, we want an 8-inch SERE band in the end, so we're going to add that 1 1/2 inches. There's 9, there's 9 1/4, there is 9 1/2. Okay. Either way, with or without a jig, you can get that measurement. Okay, so laid out on a jig for easy viewing, you can see we have my right one is going from the top down and coming out, and the left one is going up from the bottom and coming out the top, okay? So if you'd like to copy exactly what I've done here for ease of following along, go ahead and do that now. This is very simple. What you want to do is take the one that went in through the top and came out the bottom, whatever side that is for you, and simply make a loop. Okay, drag this piece across the 2 paracord strands here and have a loop. And notice that this loop is on the right side in my case. Hopefully in yours too if you're following along exactly. Whatever side it's on, just note the side that the loop is on. It's very important. Now, the other side, simply take that string and drop it over the first one, okay? Reach through that loop underneath and grab that and pull it through, okay? Very simply. And pull it all the way through. And you're going to find what you have is basically a square knot. I'll do it nice and slow, okay? And there it is. Straighten it out a little, tighten it up, and of course I'm going to jig so nothing moved. And this is what it should basically look like Okay, it's a very simple thing. Now you want to do it the way I showed you because of the way the knot forms and the way these buckles are. You're going to get a nice knot right here. It keeps things flush rather than having the bump sticking out the back and throwing things off. All right, so just believe me in the way I tell you how to knot these. This is how you want to do it. What do we remember? We remember we did a loop on the right last time, right? Like this. So remembering that, we're simply going to do the loop on the left side this time. Look at that. There's my loop. I'm going to take this string here and I'll put it over. See that? I'll hold it there with my thumb. All right, I'm going to reach through this loop, grab it, and pull it, and then all the way to the end. And there we go. Now, I'm going to do a few of these so you can see what this is supposed to look like. Okay, what did I do? I did the left. This time I'm going to do the right. Here's all that's happening, okay? I'm actually simply taking the other end of this, going over this string, and back up through that one. See, that's all that's really happening there. If I pull that, same exact thing's going to happen. You see that? It's a square knot, basically. It's just your basic, you know, it's like tying a shoe. Okay? So that we did it on the right. This time we're going to do it on the left. And I'm going to go a little faster and faster to show you how easy it is. Okay? I made the loop. I can actually hook that string with my finger, push it down, and look, just grab it. Okay? Pull it through. There it goes. Boom. Alright, so I'm going to back this off all the way back to the start. Okay, remember we got our first knot in there? And if you recall, we started with the loop on the right side. Okay, this time we're just going to do loop on the left side, bring this one over it, and grab it through that, bring it through. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to start doing this faster and faster. Okay, so you can see. So that was a left side loop, this is a right side loop, over, through. Okay, now I'm going to do a left side loop, over and through. Okay, now I'm going to do a right side loop, over, through. Now, don't follow me and don't do this. This is good practice and whatnot, but we have to back this off because we're actually going to load this up with stuff. Okay? So that's as simple as that. So if you did it right, you'll start to be able to see a pattern. Okay, it's going to look nice. Chain link. Okay, it's a very simple process. So once you learn the basic how to start it off and how to remember that loop, switching sides, it's very easy. Okay, and just to show you that you can do this by hand without a jig, let's go ahead and remove the jig for a moment. Okay, and this is what it is without a jig. Okay, you've already got your first knot. Very easy. Okay, so what do we do? Remember we made the loop on the right side like this? Okay, that's what we did last time. We made the loop on the right side. This time we're going to make the loop on the left side. Just make a loop, cross it over the two. Okay, you don't need the jig. Take the right side, okay, go over the first string and back up through the loop. There it goes. Okay, and since you're already tight up here, you don't have to worry about anything. Look, just pull it tight. And there you go. Now here you're going to want to work it a little. Okay, push your little knots. There you go. Okay, so we just did a loop on the left. We're going to do back on the right again. We're going to put the loop. Make sure the string goes over the top of our main two pieces of paracord. We're going to cut this one over that and back, over that one and back up through here. Okay, simple. Pull it through and pull it tight. So see, you don't need a jig, but I'm going to continue to use the jig just for easy viewing. All right, back on the jig for much easier viewing. So let's back that off and let's go ahead and find our parts. Put them together. In the jig and backed up all the way to our very first knot where we just tightened everything down nice and tight. If you grab the lid to the container that your SEER band came in, you're going to find a gorilla patch. And it should have a lip that you can pull right up, and when you do, boink, you should find your 2 hooks, a sewing needle, and a safety pin or a security pin. And what you want to do is approximate. Put your finger right in the middle between the 2 knots. Okay, it shouldn't be hard to find approximately the middle. Okay, and then take that Gorilla patch, just try to center it between your finger and that knot. Okay, and simply wrap it around nice and tight. Okay, so that is on the bottom, centered on the bottom half. So now we have our internals done there. Next, go ahead and grab one of the nitrile gloves. Now don't pull it apart and open it all the way up, because these are much easier to work with when you pull them out and they're flat. The air's been compressed all out of them. Go ahead and take your 2 sinkers and drop them right in there. Let them go down into one of the fingers. There they are. Now grab your 2x2 piece of metallic patch. Lay your waterproof bandage directly on top of it, followed by the aqua tabs. And we're going to keep that nice and tight. You have your little packet there, but what we're going to do is take the glove, lay it out flat, make sure there's no air in it. Again, they come out of the box with no air in them, they're pretty flat, but just make sure there's no air in it. Fold the thumb over. The thumb really in the next finger. The thumb and the pointer finger. Okay, you're going to want to fold that over. Now you notice it's kind of almost the same height here, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, again, press the air out. Now, fold these fingers up. Nice and neat. We're trying to keep from creating bulky spots. Okay. All right, now it's time to start wrapping it on there. And so for this, I will enlist the help of some simple Scotch tape. I like to start about 3/4 of an inch from the top knot and go at a slight angle. A slight angle. That helps to spread the bulk out so we don't get it all in one spot. All right, so now we're going to begin the wrap. You want to do a couple of things here. 1, keep it tight. And 2, keep your left and right strand from twisting, okay? Keep everything nice in there. And just wrap that glove around. Again, you want to keep it tight. Keep the air out as we go. This is why we start with the finger side, so the air can still come out here. Okay, out this end. And we're going to squeeze that air out and just keep wrapping tight. You got to have a little dexterity. You can do it. And keeping some kind of tight, not terribly tight. Don't stretch the thing way out, because your bracelet's going to bend too, and you're going to add extra stretch. Okay, and these are not rubber, so they can only stretch so far before you'll tear them. So when you have about this much glove left to go, okay, what you want to do is go ahead and grab that little neatly stacked packet with the metallic patch, the waterproof bandage, and the water purification. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to tuck it right in the end there, all the way down to the paracord, nice and tight up against it. Neatly stacked, push everything so that it will now nicely wrap around our paracord. Okay, and continue to wrap nice and tight. Left strand, right strand, staying where they need to be. Okay. As you get to the end, what you're going to do is let go of the inside part. Don't pull both. Let go of that inside and only grab the outside part of the glove. Okay? What we want to do is go ahead and finish out the wrap using the outside. Let it seal up that other side. Let it roll right over it till we come all the way around. Again, not so tight that you're going to rip it when we bend this bracelet. Alright, and there we go. Now here's where we enlist the help of our Scotch tape. Okay, I like to just put a little piece across. I leave a little bend on the end so I can yank it off. There we go. I'll put one there. I'll put one on this side. And I'm going to put one more at the top because I want everything to stay like it is, nice and tight and beautiful. Okay, and there we go. A little fold in the end of this one, like so, and we're good. Okay, that is just temporary. So if you recall, when we started with the loop on the right side and ran it across this way. This time, we're going to go to the other side. We're going to make the loop on the left side. Okay, we're going to cross it over, and we're going to reach through, grab it. It went underneath these two. We're going to reach through, grab it. You guys know how to do it. You've seen this done before. Once or twice. All right, we're going to tighten it up. Now, on the other side, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it since we all know how to do it now. Okay. Now see, this is why you want a nice, even looking nitrile glove, because you're going to start seeing it through the paracord from here on out. So I'm going to do one more loop on the right side, and the reason I'm stopping here is because I'm at my first piece of tape, but my paracord has now pinned down the top of the glove, so no big deal. We can now ditch it, off it goes, and we continue on. Left side. Okay, so when you get to right about here, go ahead and grab your oil-filled Luminous Compass. You want the open lid toward the top. I'm going to rest it right here for a second and take a look at it. Okay, simple as that. So we know that last time we made the loop on the left side and ran it across. So this time we're going to make the loop on the right side and run it across. But here's the difference. We can't just lay it down and run it across this time. Instead, we're just going to back, let me put this down for a sec. We're going to back that out, make the loop even bigger, all the way to the other end. Okay, so we're doing the same thing, but we have to do it this way and poke it through the bottom of our compass. Here's the compass, there's your open lid which will go towards the front, and we're just going to run that paracord right inside there and right outside the other end. Okay, so watching that down here, there I go, and I'm going to pull it until I essentially have, just like any other of the knots that I made. Okay, I have the loop that goes across the two strands, and just like all the other times, I'm just going to go with my other strand. I'm going to go over the strand, under the double strand, and up through the loop. Just like all the other knots that you've tied, there's no difference. Okay, tighten everything up, just keep that guy right up on top. You know, it takes a second to just get her adjusted there, and boom. Alright, now we're going to do this 3 more times on this compass. Very simple. I'm going to do it 1 more time before I remove the next piece of tape. I don't want it to get pinned down too hard. Okay, so I know I need a loop this way, so I'm just simply going to grab the other side. Go ahead and poke it through. Here it comes. And just like all the other times, I have exactly that. A loop from the left side now. Okay? My other strand goes over it, under the 2, up through the loop again, and there we go. Give it all its yanks. Push your paracord down into the slot of the compass so we have room to continue on. Alright. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this piece of tape off. There we go. Let's pull Pull that off of there. We know we made our last loop on the right side. We're going to make the loop on the left side. There's my loop. Of course, I'm just going to poke that through there. Okay, my loop. I'm going to cross the other one over, under the two, and through. Tighten it all up. Push everything forward, giving me room. And last time we're going to make the loop on the right. Slide that forward a little, give me some room. There we go. There's my loop. Cross over, under, through. And adjust. There you go. Okay, so we can continue on now. We made the loop on this side last time. We're going to go ahead and make it on this side and just continue down the bracelet. And now I'm at my next piece of tape. Go ahead and take that off now. I like to tighten this as I pull it so everything stays nice and tight. Okay. All right. So when you get about halfway, okay, you can see that's about halfway. You're going to want to stop there. Go ahead and grab your other glove. All right. Again, fold the thumb and the first finger over. And we're gonna go ahead and wrap it on there. I like to put the fingers underneath. I just think it makes it easier. All those loose fingers. I like to give it a little pull, not too much. You know, again, you don't want to wrap this extremely tight because there's going to be bending in this. And if it's already super tight and then you bend it, well, you're probably going to stretch it past where it wants to stretch. And again, this is not rubber. Okay, they have stretch to them, but this is not a rubber or silicone glove. All right, you're going to want to try to not get too close to the knot here. I mean, you can get up near it, but don't get over the knot. Okay. And there we are at the end. I did not pull it super tight. And just like before, I can actually use the same pieces. Just go ahead and tape that into place. All right, 2 or 3. I like 3. Okay. There we go, and now you can pretty much just continue on. Okay, we made the loop on the right side last time, so we're going to make the loop on the left side this time and continue on. Now, if you see a little piece of the glove, the end of a glove, sticking out, you're going to want to tuck that in before you get too deep. So I like to loosen stuff up, tuck it under. You don't want any little loose pieces like that. There we go. Okay. Now before I crank this one down too hard, since now I have the end of the glove pinned, I'll go ahead and pull off my tape and off we go. Okay. loop on the right. Loop on the left. Alright, now right about here you're going to want to start paying attention toward the end here. Alright, push your glove underneath, and you want to get this last one. It's basically going to touch a knot. Okay, you're not going to add any more. Don't go over that little knot. Don't put anything up in here. We're done. We've gone as far as we need to go. What you want to do is stretch this out. Don't do any cutting or do anything weird with this excess yet. Alright, we're going to take this and stretch it out. And you can do this along the way too, you know. Bend this, stretch it. I like to actually plug it in. I want to give it a pull and a squeeze and treat it like the shaman. Do squeeze it. Alright, round it out. Alright, this is why you want very, very clean hands. Or gloves would be even better. Alright, straighten it out. You can even stretch it backwards the other way. Don't be shy. Alright, you should feel it loose, be loose. Alright, it should loosen up. And then we're going to give it a good tighten. Alright. And there you go. You have built the base. Okay, and you should have a nice, neat design. You should see nothing that goes off pattern. If you do, that you just put the loop on the wrong side. Back it up till you get to where your mistake was made and go forth from there. Okay, now everything else is going to go on the outside. The next thing you want to grab is your B92 Day-Bright surface. This has a sticky back. You're just going to peel the backing off. But we're not going to do that just yet. So without peeling the back, right there with the edge of the buckle, nice and even. Okay, just, there you go. Okay, lay it down right on top of that and just trace that out and then cut it. That's the best way. Now I have the luxury of having an extra buckle piece, as do builders, so it's pretty simple. This is something you could do beforehand before you even attach this if you'd like. Just get it kind of close and then just cut that line right off. And check it before you peel it. Make sure it fits nice. And you'll end up left with something like this. Fit it on there, make sure it looks nice. It does. Now you can go ahead and peel it. Get it nice and lined up. I like to make sure all those edges, because there's a slight round in the edges. You pin this down, it's got a very good glue. It's not going to come off of there. And it should be beautiful like this, nice and even. Alright, so give that one last yank. If everything is good and you're absolutely positive that every bit of your pattern repeats itself perfectly all the way down, Okay, you don't see anything that goes off, you'll know. Your eyes will catch it, especially on the bottom side. All right, if everything's good, you haven't missed any pieces inside, it's time to cut the ends. Okay, we want it to be about 1/4 of an inch from the knot. You see that? And then we're just going to snip that right off of there. Of course, there's a wire inside this, so it's going to take a little bit more of a snip than a basic paracord, but there you go. What we want to do is just simply melt this. We don't want to light it on fire. We don't want to burn these edges. So the trick here is to just bring the fire in and out like this. Okay, so here we go. Okay, watch what I'm doing. You'll see it kind of gathering together. Okay, you don't want to get too close to the other stuff. You might see a little bit of fire off of that metal piece. Once you get it hot and melty, press it really hard with the metal and roll it. Okay, and what that did is it melted it and then it flattened it out, as you can see here. All right, and that's going to make it difficult to pull that strand right there and undo it. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Same thing, about 1/4 of an inch. Should look something like about that. And then we're just going to slice that through. Okay, you got some excess. I got a little more excess this time than I had last time. It's not a big deal. I mean, too much and you're going to want to cut it off, but that's not bad. All right, so you can see from the end of the knot, what do we have? Maybe 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and melt that away. And you might see a little fire out of the metal, the copper wire. That's all right, it's away from your other paracord. We just don't want to light our other paracord up. All right, got a nice little mushroom on there. And then smash it down nice. Press it down in the groove there. Now you're thinking, well, that's awful ugly. First, you can trim that a little bit if it overstretches its bounds more than you like. And second, we're going to cover this anyway, so don't worry about it. Okay, so now we have cut off these 2 spare pieces of paracord. Here's what we can do. Okay, with one of them, we're just going to seal both ends. Okay. This is just a nice little spare piece of paracord that is going to go into the kit. Now this other one, we're going to go ahead and strip this. Okay, so what you want to do first is cut off the end, the sealed end. Cut that right off. And of course your other end is already freshly cut. So what you want to do is take that, just poke that out a little bit like that. Grab it all and just start pulling it out of there. Okay, strip that little outer skin right off of there. You're going to find all the strands inside. Very easy to do. That's that. All right, so now we have this outer skin. We can lay that aside. And inside here, we have our inner paracord strands as well as non-magnetic copper wire. We're going to strip that out. And look, there we go. That's how we get that magnetic wire that we're going to put in the outside of the SERE band. Okay. Then we're also going to strip out the wax jute tinder. And that is where that comes from. All right. And this too will go on the outside of the SERE band. Now you still have these spare pieces. You can do what you want with these. We do not include this in the SERE band build. That's a nice thing to just save. So we're going to keep that. Okay, now we want to grab 3 things. We have 3 feet of Kevlar cutting cord, 24 inches of wax jute tinder, and 24 inches of non-magnetic copper wire. The easiest way is to tie all 3 of these together at the end. As one knot, put the wax jute tinder in the middle. This wax jute tinder is easier to tie to the copper wire than the Kevlar cord is. Okay, and there we go. And then if you like, you can just, for neatness purposes, let's go ahead and twist this around. And now you should have one long piece. Copper wire, wax jute tinder, and Kevlar cutting cord. And there you go. You're going to want to make sure to tie a knot in the end of this because it is braided, you know, and it could fray. Alright, and just like before, what you want to do is go ahead and use these little ravines here. Don't get up near the buckle, you know, again, don't ever get over this knot, this last knot. But there's a ravine right there you can use, and we're going to tie this in there nice and tight. Okay, again, you want to keep it all fitting underneath one ranger band. And of course, try to cover up the melty spots there. That's what we're trying to cover, right from the edge of the melty spots in the ravines, the width of one ranger band. I'm going to start right here in this little ravine, pin it down, and off we go. Don't worry about that little loose end sticking up, we can just pin that down. Alright, here we go. We're at the wax jute tinder. Again, I like to just pin down any loose ends as we go. And here we have the copper wire. And then at the very end, just take that little needle end and stick it in between some other strands. Tuck it away. No loose ends. There we go. Tuck it right down in there nice. Beautiful. That looks good. Nice and tight. That should all fit. Alright, you can see a nice close-up. Nothing major hanging out. I mean, you got some little fibers, but there's really nothing you can do about that. The jute tinder is fibrous, but look at how it's in between the humps. I kept it in the rivulets. It's not near the buckle. Alright, let's go ahead and put on the first ranger band. You're going to want to push this right up to your cordage. Alright, and then what we're going to do is we're going to flip that ranger band over. Okay, and I'll show you that. Just get it right up tight. There you go. Push it right up against it. A little more right here. There you go. Alright, and then what we're going to do is just grab one of them edges and just flip it over. Alright, hold it down, go around to the other piece, grab it, flip it down. You know, hold that down, go around, grab another edge, flip it down. It's pretty easy. Alright, there it is. And then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and adjust this up a little. You know, you can see something sticking out, a little bit sticking out there. So you can tuck these in. Okay, or you can pull that band up over it and let it draw back. Okay, but let's cover all those little loose ends up. I'm also going to put it right over the melty part. And you can see there's nothing underneath sticking out. See that? It pulls it up with it. Right to the edge. Right to the edge. Okay, that's good. It's a little bit right there, see that? So you can poke that in there. Just grab the shim pin, use the rounded edge. Just poke that in behind there if you get some little loose edge. There you go. Alright, beautiful. That's how you want it. Nice and neat, fully covered. Alright, that looks really good. Alright, I'm going to stick 2 ranger bands right here. And again, what we're going to do is put these on, and then we're going to do the rolling technique again. Okay? We're going to pull these down. Alright, it's a lot better to pull these down rolling them than it is to drag them, because they are like a black rubber eraser or a black shoe bottom. You know, they leave black marks. Alright, so you don't want to leave black streaks all down your light colored paracords. Alright, here goes number 3. Just slide it right over. At the very end you're going to do a little pulling, tugging, but there you go. 1, 2, 3 of them. You can see approximately where they are. We're going to shift these a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to just put on that 4th Ranger band, and all that's going to do is cover up that reflective surface so it's not there all the time. Alright, now let's do the other end. You're going to notice how it's fat here and then it gets thinner down here, and you're like, no, that doesn't look so good, but don't worry about it. We're about to add a whole bunch of spider wire right here. Okay, now you don't want to get too near the buckle when we do this. You want to keep it right there, and it's going to thicken up when we do this, and then we're going to cover it with a Ranger band. Okay, again, you can see the rivulets pretty clearly here. These are the rivulets I'm going to use to make sure I stay away from the buckle. You want to be careful to go slow so you don't tangle up this into a big rat's nest, alright? You don't want to tangle that up. I like to just pull a little out and put a little on. Okay, I'm nearing the end. Again, I'm going to just throw a piece of my thumb under there. Gives me a little loop to tuck the string under itself. Alright, so when you're done, it should be nice like this. Okay, tight. Very tight. And you'll notice that we've pretty much evened that out. And that's going to look nice when we cover that up now with a Ranger band. Alright, same technique. This one's a little more difficult over the buckle because you have the whistle that pokes out, but a little stretching and it's not a big deal. Start it on the little end. Watch out that you're not touching the spider wire at all. It's going to take a little bit of tricky maneuvering. You don't want to undo all your nice hard work there. Alright, the other thing you want to be careful of is that ferrous rod. Alright, you don't want to use that as leverage, and be careful you're not snapping it. This one takes a little bit extra time. Alright, I'm over the hump. Again, we want to pull it down just to the edge of our cordage, as close as you can get. Actually comes a point where I stop pulling and I do more of a push with my thumb. See that? And snug it up against it. Thumb and forefinger maybe. Nice and tight. And now I'm going to do the flip. Oh, nice. That was a good pull. Another decent pull. One trick is to grab an edge, pull it up over something that's sticking out more than you need to, and then drag it back. Or let it shrink back, so to speak. Alright, see, you get the idea. Keep it tight so that you can cover all of it. Ranger bands installed. Okay, let's flip it over a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and install our P38 can opener. You can see it's got the little blade part, opens up. We're going to install the blade part face down against our paracord, or in this case face up, but either way, that is going to go against the paracord. I'm going to just adjust these two Ranger bands a little bit. Remember, we just kind of dropped them close to where they're going. Okay, what we want to do now is go ahead and roll back the Ranger band. You don't have to roll it all the way back, just peel it back and tuck the fat end that has the blade on it underneath this Ranger band. Just tuck it right in there. Alright, and now that is pinned down on that side. We're going to do the same on the other side. Peel it back, tuck it in, let it go. That's all. You don't want anything poking out that's sharp. Beautiful. P38 John Wayne can opener installed. Okay, so we can put that together, flex it around, and what you're going to notice is what we've created basically with that John Wayne side is a nice flat piece that coincides with the flat piece that is the buckle on the opposite side of the wrist, with a nice flexible piece in the middle. Okay, and you can see almost like a little 8 and that's what we want. So that when this is in its wearable position, it makes a nice place for the wrist, nice and comfortable. Nothing's gonna bite you in here. Let's continue on. Next, we're gonna install one of my personal favorites, the non-metallic handcuff key. You can clip this thing anywhere, clip it on a belt loop, inside a seam. Okay, it's not going to be detected. Very cool little item to have. And we're going to install this on the side that we put our spider wire. The object is to get the Ranger band lifted as high up off the paracord and the cordage underneath the spider wire as you can, so we can slip this on. There we go. No problem. Okay, right here next to the John Wayne, on the same two Ranger bands that are holding that down, we're going to install the modified chin pin. We're going to clip it on the one Ranger band and slide it down and tuck it under the next. Okay, so you can see here it is. It's on the side using the same two Ranger bands that the John Wayne is using. Right there on the side, right in between the links. It holds it nice, keeps it from moving up and down. Alright, so I basically clipped it on the first one and tucked both of the loose ends into the second one. Alright, keeping the sharp edges down. Lastly, we're going to take our wound seal and antibiotic pods and we're going to install those. Now those are going to go in the same two Ranger bands that we just used for the John Wayne and for the modified chin pin, and they're going to go on top across. Okay, I'm going to peel it back, drop one under there. And again, we're just peeling the top back. We don't need to take the whole thing apart. Down the bottom too, we got things tucked in there. And cover it up. Antibiotic pod installed. Can't even see it. It's right under here. Okay, I see I got a gully I can use for this one too. I'm just going to lay it across, jam it in there and cover it up. Jam it right down in as far as you can and cover it up. And now the wound pod is installed. Again, you can't see it, but it's there. I promise. Hello. There's one. There's two. At this point, if you'd like, you can go ahead and peel that protective film off of your signal mirror. Back and forth, now that I got all the new things in it. Just make sure everything's nice and loose and comfy. Okay? And with that, my friends, you have created a Rocknus STEALTH S.E.R.E band. And we don't need to tell you all the goodies that are packed in this, do we? No. Alright, congratulations on building that. You did an outstanding job. Look at that. That is some fine work. Okay, you did excellent. I knew you could. Great. Alright, again, I'm just going to work it. That is a beauty. Really, that is really nice. We could have some extra non-metallic copper wire by just stripping that out of there. We have fishing line in here that we could just strip out of there. We could pull out the individual paracord strands and then untangle each one of those, because those are braided. We can get some very thin line out of that to use for sewing, stitches, all kinds of things. Alright, so just as it sits, that spare stuff is worthwhile to have. Okay, but what else could we do with it? Well, how about a necklace? Tie a knot in one end. Don't quite close it. Run your paracord through it. Now close it. Take the other end, put it around your paracord, and same thing, tie a little knot in it. Alright? Make them nice and tight. Now you've made an adjustable necklace. Make that as big or as small as you need or like. From this size all the way up to this size. Alright, now again with the ends, pull them tight, cut them at 1/4 inch, melt them if you want to just keep that and get a necklace. Alright, You can go really extravagant now. Here's what I did. I took the paracord. All right, rather than make that loop, I just went and got one of those cheap little, cost me a few cents. This is basically a barrel buckle, okay? It's a breakaway. So if you pull with more than 20 pounds of pressure, it's meant to come apart. It keeps you from choking yourself if you are going to make a necklace. Things to think about, okay? And with the other piece, I wrapped the handle. And this is just a cheap little knife. It wasn't anything expensive, okay? But there it is. And I have a nice little neck knife with 660 paracord, survivor cord. All right, with jute tinder, fishing line, copper wire, and everything I need in there. Another thing you could do is take a simple key ring, okay, and using the skills that you learned, make a loop, put it through, wrap it around the keys, and look. Does this look familiar? It should. Go up about that far on it. Just tie a little knot. Make it a nice, neat one. Like that. And then just do what you've already learned. Okay? Make a little loop. Cross over. Come up through the hole. Make a little loop. Cross over. Come up through the hole. Make a little loop, cross over, come up through the hole. So you can end up with something like this. Alright, or you can make it shorter by just starting your knot lower. Okay, you can adjust the length. It'll be, you know, you could adjust the knot a little lower, this would be a little longer. You could adjust it just perfectly to reach right up against this. Or start from the other side and work your way down here. Either way, there you go. There's a keychain, all right? Snip them, burn them. That's different ways that you can use this spare paracord. So that's a bonus, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find a use for it, and thank you very much for your purchase.